Doctor, will it be true then if, for instance, one is doing what they believe they should be doing? Let me make you a very practical example. I have
Mhm,
gone through, I've gone through the educational system. I've been to school to the university level, and I
mhm,
grew up knowing that you go to school, get a job, build your life, and you'll be okay.
mm,
That I have, and that I have justly done. I mean, I've done that without problem. But I've been working on my life. I even do have a job. It's not enough for me to take care of myself. Practically,
mm,
things are not working out for me. I'm doing the
mm,
best that I
mm,
can, but it seems that the more I try, the more things continue to go the opposite way of what I expected them to
mm,
be.
mm,
If
mm,
I
mm, mm.
happen to be in that kind of situation, one, can I describe, am I permitted to describe that to be a form of adversity? Or how do I describe that situation and what should one do in that kind of situation?
Mm, mm, mm. So you're asking if you could define that an adversity or what you can
Yes,
do
can
to
I?
deal with that situation?
Yeah, those
Both.
are the two, yeah, both. Yeah,
Okay.
because
So,
the reason why I'm asking doctor is this. In this on this podcast, I have a lot of people that are living in the diaspora that do
mm,
listen to my podcast. And some of us, even partly due to my personal experience, moving from one country to the other,
mhm,
having to start afresh, like as if I'm a little child, and having to go through life again. And at times, things do not work out easily.
mm, mm,
This is
mm,
just one example. For another person, it might be their marriage, it might be a long term relationship with their significant other, where one put everything on the table,
mm, mm, mm.
have given their best and everything, but things just seems not to be working.
Just know what. Okay, so it's a tricky question in the sense that it's always that dynamic of looking at outside or inside.
Mhm.
So if you're describing a situation that's related to, for example, migration, having to start all over again, a different country. So there's a lot of external factors that are contributing to the difficulty in finding a job and supporting yourself financially. So that then
Yes.
we're looking at an adversity that's going on. In other cases, it could be a consequence of the individual not having the right attitude or not making the
Okay.
right choices and persisting in making wrong choices. It could be the case of someone who tends to be aggressive and so keeps losing jobs, even if maybe there are opportunities, but they keep not engaging very well with people and putting themselves into difficult situations. So there's two different things. So if we thinking about the adversity,
Mhm.
um, and I think your question was also about what to do if I keep trying my
Yeah.
best and there's so many issues going on and I can't just get what I want and I can't obtain whatever job I want.
Yeah.
I can't support myself. Okay, so I think that it's important to review
Okay.
your the goals and the expectations and see if I'm actually trying to achieve something that is not possible
Okay.
first. So I think that's important to reevaluate that and see what I'm trying to do is it actually possible, or there's so many things that are preventing that from happening, and I need to review my goals or the things that I can work on right now. So I think that's the first step. And the second step would be once I have some adequate goals, what is on the what is in my power to change and contribute and what is not. So that's helpful in a sense that sometimes people will waste a lot of energy
Okay.
to try to pursue whatever. And so whatever is changeable, whatever it is not, and that's exhausting. So just having the clarity and see, okay, this part of my life I can do something about. So let's see what I can do. And this other part is mostly out of my control. So I'm just gonna
Mhm.
have to deal with it, learn to tolerate that distress, learn to manage in a way that is affecting me the least. So it's not, no, it's much easier to say than do, but
Yeah,
that is pretty much how it is. And I understand that sometimes life can be very difficult, and that can be challenging for people that have gone through a lot and they feel maybe
yes,
exhausted.
that's so
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Thank you so very much. I mean, you said something that is very, very powerful in the sense that we
Mm, mm,
should,
mm,
at times, despite the circumstances in which we find ourselves, before we begin
mm,
to make that judgment that things are not going the way it should be. If those things
mm,
that we want to achieve are actually something that is achievable
mm, mm,
based
mm,
on the state in which we find ourselves at that time. This, I think, most of us are not doing. I
mm,
think
mm, mm,
this, listening to you, I genuinely believe that this could be very, very hard for very many of us to do.
mm, mm, mm.
You have to have been living in that elevated state of mind to be able to make that calculation or to have arrived at that understanding to
Yeah,
ask that
yeah.
question. I doubt, even though I do not know for a fact, but I doubt if a lot of people will get to that place that they ask themselves the question.
Mm,
Because
mm,
that's
mm,
what I mean, being with the type of job that you do and you have, you, we both live in the modern time. We live in an era of victimhood where everybody wants to be the best or worst victim of whatever situation that they find themselves. This is not to discredit those that are actually going through a difficult time, but there is also that aspect of a kind of personality that most of us have acquired today, being a victim of whatever circumstances around us, passing the blame to other people. Meanwhile,
mm,
one could actually be in a situation whereby things are not working and they might be having this difficulty. And I hope that
mm,
our
mm,
listeners
mm,
they take this point into consideration.
mm,
And
mm,
like I keep saying, if you need a professional help, please do. Although there are
mm,
practical steps that you can take, some
mm,
issues cannot be
mm.
discussed just in the podcast. Those help are
Yeah.
really necessary. But mind you, if you are going through life thinking that maybe things are not working the way you expect them to be, sitting down and taking a stop just the way doctor has said it, it's very, very
Mm, mm,
important.
mm,
I
mm.
really appreciate that explanation.
I wanted to add something, and I think
Okay.
I'm not sure if you mentioned that in the question, but it was a part of the question that you were mentioning about doubting yourself. So, what to do if you doubt yourself? And I find
Yes.
that doubting yourself, it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Okay.
Um, it could be a time where you feel like, okay, something is not quite right. So let's have a look. Let's see what's going on. Really, with that curious attitude, open attitude to see what's happening that is within me or outside of me that is just not working well. So in that sense, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It becomes a negative thing if it becomes critical and self-blaming, that kind of doubting yourself and putting yourself down, then it's a negative thing. But if you use the right approach, it can just be a time where you feel and you admit to yourself this something is not quite right. Maybe even admitting that I'm really not coping very well right now. So maybe I need some support, or I need to change something at this point without having to feel inadequate, without having to feel ashamed, because that's just a natural, normal experience of humans.
Right.